As part of our audio and interactivity module, our group decided to create a DAW which was controlled using a PlayStation 4 controller. We used the PlayStation 4 controller because it had other features which some other controllers didn't. For example, a light bar which we could use for colour tracking. We tried to minimise the amount of time the user would spend within Max by assigning every button so it would do a specific feature. By the end we kind of ran out of buttons, so some features had to be toggled on and off within Max itself, but this was mainly limited to the synth. One of our aims was to minimise the amount of time that the user would spend within Max, so we tried to have every button to do a feature, so I had a specific feature. For example, if you press the options button, it turns the audio on and off. Pressing the PlayStation button would let the user know that the controller was connected and on, and it does this by printing a message out. And pressing the share button would create a list of every serial port which was available to use. This was just to minimise the amount of time that the user would spend within Max and could do it efficiently from the controller. For the drum samples, we linked the 4 drum samples to each of the shoulder buttons. So R2 was the kick, L2 was the snare, R1 was the closed hat, and L1 was the open hat. So all 4 of these effects got routed through a dry signal as well as 3 different effects. So the 3 effects we had was reverb, delay and distortion. These were triggered using the face buttons, so it was cross, circle, triangle and square. So cross was the dry signal, circle was the reverb, square was the delay and triangle was the distortion. We also added in the feature for users to save their recordings. So to do this we used the SF record object and we mapped it to 2 buttons on the controller. So pressing down on the D-pad would allow the user to select where they wanted to save the recording and be saved as an AIF file. After that, clicking in the right stick toggled on the ability to record, and then once you started playing it started recording everything. To do this we routed all instruments including the synth into the SF record object. One of the reasons we decided on using a PlayStation 4 controller was because it had the feature of a light bar. Now within Arduino we could change the colour of the light bar, so we decided on pressing the left button to change it to green and the right button to change it to red. We created a patch within Max which would detect green and red and then automate the pitch and frequency of the synth. We did this using the iMac cameras. This is just to create another novel way for the user to automate a feature without having to go into Max themselves and click and manually set the settings. As well as being able to trigger drum samples, we created a synth as well so the users could create some other sounds. We created 4 presets, so it's just 4 different little melodies it would play through, and these are toggled by pressing the up directional button. By this point we started to run out of buttons to use on the controller, so we had to resort to manually changing it using a mouse within Max. So we had 2 ADSR boxes. We also had a little rotary wheel, so the user could then select the tempo of the synth it was playing. The synth itself is turned on and off by clicking in the right stick, and we created the colour tracking separately so that it could be turned on and off manually by clicking in the touchpad. This was so that the user didn't have to have the colour tracking turned on at the same time as the synth.